Hello, friend, and welcome to the All-Inclusive Lifestyle Academy show. I've got a special guest here today. You know that we've always talked about cultivating energy, but what about restoring balance? I have someone today that has been dedicating his life to teaching people balance, to teach people how that they can heal themselves and get to this state that I really think that we're all interested in getting to and staying there for as long as we can. It's a state of serenity. It's the peacefulness, the contentness that everything is okay. I think that that's really where we want to be. And this person is teaching myself and also teaching thousands of other people how they can get into that state as well. His name is Sujon Datta, and he's a good friend of mine. And I think there's 3 questions I can ask you here today, Sujon, that would answer all of their questions. And the first one is, so we can get a real feeling of who you are and what is important to you. I'm going to ask you, what do you do for fun?
I do a lot of things for fun. I'm very creative. So for me, what's truly fun is going to the beach, chilling out, becoming one with the ocean. I'm really into this energy thing, as you just told me. And going to the ocean it gives me this surrender, this peace. And I go out there and I write. Whether it's for fun, I like to write music, like to write poetry, and also, of course, I'm writing a book right now, but that to me is a lot of fun. And actually playing with my friends, if I can say it lightly. Being amongst people, especially my friends who get me. I love that a lot. It helps me just be in joy.
So what is it about the beach that gets you into that state where you can write? And I'm a writer as well, so I know how difficult it is to get into that state, stay in that state. And when we're writing a book, there's pressure on us, pressure to perform. And why does the ocean and the beach get you into that state of mind?
Well, I want to talk about one thing when you just said pressure. The pressure that we place on ourselves is our own pressure. And that's because we're trying to meet all these expectations that we think the people outside of us have on us, right? That pressure is really our own ego going off, trying to be this perfect person, this meeting the expectations of what my book should be doing and how it's going to affect all of you. The reality is we got to get rid of that thought. And what the ocean does is when we're out there, it's just totally expansive. I mean, I live in Los Angeles, as you know, and I'm from Toronto originally. Part of the reason why I'm there is because it's the hub of spirituality, creativity. It gives you permission to really be you. And when you become one with the ocean, it's like anything is possible. And then when the sun is out, I mean, the sun is the most powerful star, if you will. It provides so much energy. It's what keeps us alive, right? So when I have the sun and the water being, the diamonds that are created by the sun and the waves, there's this special feeling for me. And I sit on the sand and I feel grounded. So I feel like I become one with that beach.
Now, do you find in today's age that a lot of people are missing, that connection with nature, which, not all of us are from sunny Los Angeles, California. Some of us are up here in, we don't know what it is right now, if this is hot or cold, Toronto. But do you find that a lot of people are really missing getting out and connecting with nature and being sort of holed up in a house or in an office and missing out on?
Yes, absolutely. I think most people, majority of the people, I've been doing sessions here in Toronto for a while now, but I'm here for the next couple months. What I find is people are really caught up in this hamster wheel. They've got their to-do list. They gotta go to their job, 9 to 5, 9 to 6 with the commute, and then they have to feed the kids, or whatever the pattern is. I don't want to shoebox it, but really people are living by a certain boundary, and they think that this is the cycle and this is life, and what happens when that, when you're doing the same monotony.
Yeah. So it's interesting when you said boundaries. That's a trigger word, right? And breaking boundaries. I just got excited when you said that. I get to give myself permission to open that office door or my house door and go out there and go for a walk and connect.
Right. It's really about busting your comfort zones. It's really about reflecting and contemplating what you truly want. When we did our session, I'm trying to guide you to really think outside the box and think beyond what you're consciously thinking, really going into the subconscious mind where all that stuff is, and really trying to expand our awareness. Healing is just about awareness. What patterns am I doing? What patterns, what are the behaviors? It's the world of cause and effect, right? So it all starts with a thought and it ends with an action.
Yeah.
What actions are you taking today that are creating the effects of your life?
If I can just say, that's exactly what happened to me today when we were in our session, is the pause button. You asked the right questions and you brought me to another state of awareness, and I stayed there still. And that pause, it really broke that pattern, right? That cycle that I was in, because I get wound up just like everybody else. There's just so many things going on in our solar system. We're trying to control, all of those things and keep them into orbit. And I just find it goes faster and faster, like that hamster wheel you're talking about.
Right.
So what you really did for me is you asked these really profound questions, and I don't want to look bad in front of you, so I had to put some thought into it, and it really put the brakes on for me. It was just an amazing experience.
Yeah, and that's my hope, is that you really contemplate, reflect on what you want, because the reality is that we're so busy following other people's advice, what our society wants, or we're trained by the system to think only a certain way, and we're so addicted, is probably the best word, to pleasing others and putting ourselves last. I mean, in Toronto, for instance, I joke because I'm Torontonian, so I'm allowed to. We're too busy saying I'm sorry. We're too busy apologizing for who we are and what our needs are, and because it's too selfish.
Yeah. Well, something that came out from my session that was really profound for me, and I'm sure I'm going to be thinking about it for days or weeks or months, as it all unravels for me, because you've really opened that Pandora's box, was I'm not good enough. And I asked you, I said, do a lot of people come to you with that kind of a problem? And you said, yeah, that's very common.
It's 95% or more of my clients, to be honest.
Wow. And you can imagine if you feel that way, well, the pressure is going to be so immense that you're going to have to match that with your own intensity.
Sure.
And that's when your world just starts revolving so quickly, almost spinning out of control. And that's what I realized with my life, at this point in time, and pausing and reflecting just in your session, that's sort of what was happening for me. And I said to you, I said, Sujon, this was overdue for me. Yeah. I really needed to pause, to break, full stop, take a look around.
Yeah.
We don't have roses here yet, but we're getting there. It's getting a little warmer, but to smell the roses.
Yeah. I mean, I may have said this earlier to you, which is in music, there are rests. Can you imagine a piece of music just going off? And
how's it sound again? Yeah,
right?
something like that. Right?
But and so there's no breaks, there's no creativity. It's just one sound, right? But when you're creative, when you really look at the beauty of what you're trying to create, those pauses come into effect. And so in life, we need to take some pauses to really see where we're at. You can smell the roses, but you got to be real about where you're at. Is it really in line with where you're headed? are the things that you're doing really working? And if they're not working, why are you doing them? You know, we keep doing the same thing and we get into this habitual place that we're doing the same thing over and over and over again. We forget why we're even doing it. And sometimes it doesn't work anymore. So why are you doing them?
Right. Well, that was the other thing that came up as well is you asked me quite simply, what's working, what's not working? And if it's not working, then why are you still working it? And there's that habitualness, the addiction, the pattern behavior that us human beings are pretty much born innately with, or we develop, and it serves us too,
Yes,
right? There's
absolutely.
certain things, certain disciplines that we want to have a pattern with, we want to be habitual with, like morning meditation is something that I hold dear and something that I feel is a healthy habit. So that's a pattern I want to keep.
Right.
But of course, there's these other patterns which are more fear-driven, that I would love to get rid of, and that's really what you were doing with me. And you had some really interesting techniques, and I'm not going to give it all away. Well, here's the second question: what are you famous for?
Well, that's a loaded question because I don't do what I do for fame. I'm doing it because this is who I am. I guess the famous part for people who believe in that is that I'm related to the father of yoga, who brought yoga in 1920. He actually brought yoga and meditation, and his name is Paramahansa Yogananda. He wrote a famous book, underline the famous, Autobiography of a Yogi, which all the top self-help gurus have read.
I just want to let all of our viewers know that there's an amazing documentary right now on Netflix. The biography of a yogi, I believe.
It's called Awake. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the documentary of a yogi.
Okay. Yes, that's right. So check that out on Netflix. I watched it. It was just incredible. If I could just give you my interpretation.
Sure.
I know that this is your great uncle, correct, that I'm talking about here. But as I understand it, he was with his mentor. Another yogi in India, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
And they received a message that Yogananda needed to come to America and he needed to spread the message. And he was chosen. He did not want to go, as I understand it, at all. Now, hold on a second. This is in the early 1900s, okay?
Yes.
So if you can imagine, early 1900 in America, this person from India coming, or yogi coming from India over to America. It just doesn't really fit all that well. But for some reason, and I think I know why, it's because he really was divine in the sense that he was here on a divine mission with a divine message, and they heard him. The Americans actually, brought him in to their home, to their country. And, he went on to speak to dignitaries.
Well, that's how he started, was in 1918. There was a big talk with Congress.
That's right.
So he spoke to the Congress and brought, he's the only brown guy in the room, by the way. Kind of like I am. No, wait. And he spoke to Congress and eventually with the president, and then he decided to go from Boston to Los Angeles, where he opened a self-realization fellowship, and that's all in the documentary. But Autobiography came out in 1946 and changed so many lives, and still does. And people like Elvis Presley and George Harrison and Madonna and J-Lo, these people all have taken or read the book or taken teachings. Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, a very dear person to me, was a disciple of Yogananda's work as well, and so forth. It's not about the names as much as how many millions of people he has affected. And if it wasn't for Paramahansa Yogananda, there wouldn't be yoga as we have it today, especially now with mindfulness and meditation, because that's what he brought to the West Side. And so that's where I find the blessing for me. I'm so proud to be part of the lineage, and really my mission is to really help open people's hearts to themselves and continue in passing this work that he brought. And I'm just here to inspire, empower, and guide people to really see themselves and really to reach their highest potential. And I am just like you. We're all equal. I believe in oneness. I believe that you are me and I am you, and we're all trying to do the best we can to help raise, really ultimately, help raise the vibe of our world where we're all celebrating life.
You know, what have you struggled with? What has been the biggest challenge that you've ever had to overcome in your life?
Wow. See, as a healer, teacher, student, you know, every single obstacle that I've had has really taught me something. But probably about 5 years ago was when, excuse my French, the shit hit the fan. And my dad was sick, financial issues, relationship issues, personal health issues, all had happened at the same time. And I'll tell you, it takes perseverance, it takes focus, it took surrender to really wake up to who I am, and above all, love, self-love. And so when all that happened at the same time, you don't feel you're worthy of anything. You don't even want to live. I went to that space. I went to that very space that a lot of people go to, where the existence of being here just doesn't matter. So I guess my greatest achievement thus far was I was able to come out of that and understand and learn. So, you know, I'm a teacher of experience. I've read hundreds and thousands of books, to be honest, you know? And everybody has a different interpretation, just like yours does, you know, which is great, which is what we need to do. But it's all about the experience. How are you applying the wisdom that's there? It's already there. You just got to find it for yourself. So my greatest achievement was to come out of that space of realizing my truth and who I am and what I have to offer. Because I can talk about all the clients that I've helped, the cancer people, brain tumors, all that stuff, or relationship issues, or personal depression. I've helped all kinds. But if it wasn't for the work that I've done thus far and understanding what life really is about for me, I couldn't help serve those people.
And you mentioned something that is of much interest to me: self-forgiveness, self-love, self-compassion. You know, when I'm working with clients, I see the lack of all three of those.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a real hurdle. And it appears to me that in our society that sometimes the forgiveness of others, right, compassion to others, seems to precede compassion and love and surrender and acceptance and all of those things to self.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we want those things from others. We want to be validated. We want to be loved, right? But in order to receive that, if you really believe in the universal laws, the law of vibration, the law of attraction, etc., you have to be that to attract that, okay? So if you want compassion in your life, you have to be compassionate. If you want to have love in your life, you have to be loving. If you want truth, speak truth.
So you have to be these things. So, you know, I need to be in love with myself, you know, and I need to be compassionate with myself.
That's right. And kind and all those great things.
Because then I become those things and then I attract those things.
Because again, it's all energy. Everything in this room is energy. We are energy. So if you apply the physical laws of the universe, you will have a better shot at getting to where you want to go, because you got to match the vibrational frequency of whatever you want. And most of the time we are playing small. We are apologizing. We don't believe we're worthy of getting what we want. We are not worthy of reducing our weight or looking healthy anyway. It's not about the weight as much as feeling healthy, right? Or getting whatever it is that you desire. So again, we have to recognize, become aware. That's what the healing's all about. Become aware, and that's how you heal people, of what is getting in the way of you actually becoming that frequency, that vibration that is generated within you, to be able to match and bring into your world that very thing that you dream of.
I just had this image of wholeness, when I direct that love and that compassion towards myself, then, I just become this magnet. I become whole. I become bigger than me, bigger than life. And then I'm able to, attract all these other things. And I'm able to also to give all these other things that I'm giving myself to be compassionate, with my children and with my employees and with my friends and my family, my loved ones, right?
And really surrendering to them. That's your word. In surrendering to them, you are taking on their vibration to understand who they are and feeling their love. That's what open-hearted means, is to really allow and trust and surrender to whatever it is in front of you, whether it's your partner, your marriage, your husband, wife, whether it's your kids, whether it's your teachers, whether it's your coaches, whether it's the guy at the grocery store. We gotta stop judging, because you know what's happening right now? Judgment is killing our world. It's not judgment against the Muslims, the Hindus, the Greeks, the whatever. It doesn't matter what the label is. It's the judgment of self. And if we can really look at where we're judging ourselves and we feel better, our vibration goes up, so does the people around us, thanks to the law of vibration. And my hope is that we can all lift this consciousness to a higher level where I can respect you. That's all we're looking for. I respect you for who you are and what you're going through, and if you need my help, I'm here. That's the compassion.
Now that's a bit of a paradox, though, because I would think, naturally speaking, that if I'm looking for all of those things to gratify myself, if it's acceptance from other people, etc., then I'm thinking that I need to go out there and get it in the form of people and their opinions of me, or other forms of of luxury, for example, the car, the houses, the clothes, whatever it is. But from what you're telling me and from where we connect, we're on the same page. It's all within us, and we need to turn our attention and our focus and our awareness onto self. And in that, that's really where the healing will begin.
Right.
And that's where we'll get to that state that we're all desiring of, hey, everything's going to be okay today.
Right. And we all want the freedom to be who we are. Bottom line, remember when you were a kid, you would do whatever you wanted to do, however you wanted to do it. Nobody told you how to do it.
My daughter, so she's grade 1 and grade 2. When she was in grade 1, it was not Canada Day, but she wore this I guess it was like a headband with 2 big Canadian flags hanging off of it. And she rushed out the door. She had it on her head, and I said, okay. Today it's Canada Day, I guess, right? But I thought that was so cool that she was able to do that, not fearing judgment. I guess if she went into our world, she would look a little ridiculous. And I gave her a pat on the back and a big hug, because I thought that was just amazing that she was willing to express herself in a way that may look silly in the adult world.
Yeah, I that's amazing. I think that's how we all should be. I think we would appreciate life more. We would always be in wonder.
So I'm going to be giving away some headbands with big before Canada Day.
Whatever holiday's coming up next, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But one thing I'm going to tell you, the leaders of our world, especially the business, let's not talk about the political leaders, because we all have
not on this show
about that. But you look at some of the major corporations and the leaders that run them, And one message that I remember from a person that I've worked with, he says, you have to be a little crazy in order to lead. You have to be a little crazy to see beyond what people are seeing as norm. You have to think outside the box. So being crazy gives you the permission to really be Albert Einstein.
And can I just add this? I think you might think you need to be crazy to take care of yourself, right? To become self-aware and to start looking at things like your emotions and your health and, you know, the way that you live, your lifestyle. You know, that might take a certain amount of craziness,
Sure.
Okay, to break the patterns that perhaps that you have with your life, where all of these things that really aren't important become utmost important to the point of an obsession or an addiction, definitely habitual anyways. So a little bit of craziness, I think, is what we all need.
Yeah, and really craziness is happening in our own mind. Our ego is judging this. This is crazy. You want me to do what, Chris? That's a little crazy because I'm so habitual in the way that I do this, the way I eat this, or what I intake or exercise. This is a little crazy, Chris. That's what the ego is saying. But the reality is that craziness is what's getting you closer and closer to your authentic being.
Exactly. And that's just because you're spending time with yourself, on yourself, getting to know yourself, and I think that that's what my experience with you today is. And I want to let all the viewers know that if they do want to see you for one of the sessions like I had, how would they get in touch with you?
They could email me. My website is sujondatta.com. My phone number here is 416-275-0350. I'll put it in your...
We'll put that in the show notes,
and
okay?
then sdattaboy@gmail.com. That's just call me, email me, whatever you want to do. I'm around.
I think anyone that is feeling a little crazy, okay, and really wants to take a pause, a timeout, and have somebody guide them, you know, like you did as a navigator for me today, through some self-reflection and identify some patterns, some habits, and perhaps some blockages, right, that are blocking you from reaching a state of, as I call it, serenity or peacefulness or wholeness, or again, you know, everything today is going to be okay. So I want to wrap things up. Sujon, I appreciate you coming. I feel so much lighter now that I've spent some time with you. I've got a lot of things to think about. That was your intention, I guess. It doesn't really stop here. It's going to continue as things continue to unravel, and I'm looking forward to debriefing myself in my debate committee up here in my head. Mr. Sujon, I appreciate you coming here and helping us all to inspire to aspire.